My parents pushed me out of the car in the rain and drove away, saying I was too much to deal with. I lay there, unable to move. Their taillights disappeared, but another car didn't. Someone stepped out, knelt beside me and said softly, "I told you I'd come back for you." The rain was relentless that night, each drop a cold slap against my skin as I sat in the back seat of our family sedan. My fingers, thin and trembling, traced patterns in the fog my breath left on the window. Pain medication dulled the edges of my awareness, but it couldn't mask the wrongness in the air. The silence between my parents was a living thing, thick and suffocating. "Dad, where are we going?" I asked, my voice barely cutting through the storm's roar and the rhythmic swish of windshield wipers. No answer, just the tightening of his knuckles on the steering wheel, white as bone. My mother stared ahead, her face a pale mask lit by flashes of lightning. She hadn't looked at me in weeks. I'm 17 and my body has been failing me since I was 12. Neurological tremors started as whispers, dismissed as anxiety or growing pains, until they screamed loud enough to demand a cane by 14, a wheelchair by 16. Hospital staff knew my name, my parents' savings bled dry, and every new treatment promised hope but delivered only side effects. That night, as the car slowed onto an unfamiliar country road, I felt the shift. Trees loomed like sentinels, their shadows twisting in our headlights. Pain radiated down my spine, my medication wearing thin. "Mum," I said, leaning forward, "I think I need my next dose early. This road, you'll be fine," she snapped, her voice ice. A memory flickered. My 8th birthday, her hands frosting a chocolate cake, my father hoisting me to touch the ceiling, my brother Caleb weaving a bracelet of coloured string. One for each year, he'd said, promising another for my next birthday. He never got the chance. Caleb vanished after a fight with our father when I was 8, his absence a wound that never healed. The car stopped abruptly on a dirt shoulder miles from anywhere. No houses, no lights, just rain and thunder. My father killed the engine. "Get out," he said, not turning. I laughed, nervous. "What? Dad, it's pouring." "Get out," he repeated, fingers drumming the wheel. "Take your backpack. We packed your essentials." A small bag sat at my feet, unnoticed until now. "Mum," I whispered, voice cracking. "What's happening?" She turned, her face unrecognizable. "We can't do this anymore, Laya. The bills, the care, watching you deteriorate. We've given everything." My father's voice was flat. "You're a burden. No savings, no retirement, no life." My mother added, "The community stopped helping years ago. Insurance won't cover experiments. We can't watch you suffer." "So you're leaving me here?" I choked out. Silence. My father stepped into the rain, yanked open my door, and pulled me out. My legs buckled and I collapsed into the mud, pain searing my hip. He tossed the backpack beside me, water soaking it instantly. I looked up at the people who'd once checked for monsters under my bed. No tears, no guilt, just empty faces. "Why?" I asked, teeth chattering. My mother looked away. My father walked back to the car. No goodbyes, just the slam of doors and the engine's roar as they vanished. I tried to stand, but tremors shook my body, worsened by cold and fear. Crawling to a shallow ditch, I sought shelter as rain pounded my back. Headlights appeared and hope flared. I raised a trembling hand, but the truck sped past, leaving me alone. This couldn't be real. A nightmare, a fever dream. But the mud seeping through my sweater, the icy rain on my skin, screamed truth. Time blurred as I slipped in and out of consciousness, memories fragmenting. Caleb's laughter, hospital rooms, my mother's distant eyes, then headlights again, dim and distant, as if parked. Footsteps splashed through puddles. A tall figure approached and fear gripped me. "Friend or foe?" I tried to call out, but thunder swallowed my voice. The figure crouched, shielding me from the rain. A gentle hand brushed wet hair from my face. "It's okay," a man's voice said, familiar yet aged. "I never forgot you." Strong arms lifted me, cradling me against warmth. "You're safe now," he murmured as darkness claimed me. My last thought was of Caleb, his voice from bedtime stories, from a brother lost to me nearly a decade ago. Warmth greeted me when I woke. Not the ditch's cold embrace, but a rustic room with wooden walls and a wood-burning stove's glow. I lay under thick quilts, an IV dripping fluid into my arm. My soaked clothes were gone, replaced by a soft flannel nightgown. Rain pattered on the roof, a comforting rhythm now. Framed photos hung on the wall, landscapes, a man's silhouette at dawn. "You're awake," a voice said from the doorway. A tall man in his late 20s stood there, broad-shouldered with familiar blue eyes. "Caleb," I whispered, my throat raw. He set a steaming mug beside me. "Hey, liar bean," he said, using my old nickname. I winced as I sat up, and he adjusted pillows with practiced care. "How? When?" I stammered. "Drink this first," he said, handing me tea with honey. The warmth soothed my throat, but reality crashed back. "They left me," I said, voice breaking. "They drove away." Caleb's jaw tightened. "I know. I saw." He'd been watching them for weeks, sensing something wrong. "But how did you find me?" I asked, hurt surfacing. He'd been gone 9 years, no calls, no letters. "I never really left you," he said, eyes on his calloused hands. "I left them." He'd confronted our father about my care, offered to pay for a specialist. The fight escalated, and at 17, with $50 and no diploma, he was cast out. "I tried to reach you," he said. "Letters sent back, calls blocked, your school barred me." The betrayal deepened, not just my parents, but their lies about Caleb abandoning me. He'd been homeless, worked odd jobs, got his GED, and bought this off-grid cabin. "I stayed under their radar," he said. "Harder to find you without a digital footprint." Then he dropped the bomb. My parents hadn't just abandoned me. They'd emptied my medical fund and reported me as a runaway to cover their tracks. Insurance fraud, legal protection. Their plan was meticulous. Caleb showed me evidence, bank records, dash cam footage, timestamps of that night. "I don't want revenge," he said, eyes burning. "I want justice." Tears spilled as I sobbed for years of loneliness. Caleb held me, his own tears falling silently. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you better," he whispered. When I calmed, I asked, "What now?" "You heal," he said, gesturing to his heart. "And when you're ready, we show the world who you are." A leather-bound journal on the bedside table caught my eye. "It's Mum's," Caleb said, handing it to me. "Found it in a storage unit. There's more to this story." Its weight felt heavy with secrets I wasn't ready to face, but I opened it, determined to uncover the truth. 3 weeks later, sunlight filtered through the cabin's curtains. My body was healing, slowly, under the care of Anna, a former military medic and Caleb's friend. "Arms up," she instructed during therapy, her keen eyes tracking my progress. "Hold for 10. My muscles burned, but I gritted my teeth, earning her subtle nod of approval. 5 degrees more mobility, she noted. "Doesn't feel like much," I muttered. "Healing isn't linear," she replied. Caleb entered with a basket of garden vegetables, his sanctuary a marvel of self-sufficiency. Solar power, a greenhouse, a hidden underground room with supplies and computers. "Not paranoia if they're after you," he'd joked, but the truth lingered. On the porch, I watched him tend the garden, his movements precise, a far cry from the lanky teen I remembered. "How'd you learn all this?" I asked. "Necessity," he said, settling beside me. "And Frank, a Vietnam vet who took me in, taught me to build, grow food, live off-grid. Taught me justice, not revenge." The journal haunted me. Entries hinted at a deal, something tied to my illness. "You think it's not natural?" I asked. "I don't know," Caleb said, "but I'll find out." That night, a storm cocooned us as Caleb shared more, a failed engagement to Hannah, who wanted a normal life he couldn't give. "Because of me?" I asked. "Because of everything," he said. My past, nightmares, staying off-grid, his sacrifices mirrored my suffering. Yet he'd never wavered. Sleep brought nightmares of the roadside, but Anna's words during therapy grounded me. She'd survived war, nearly ended her life, but chose to live. "Survival isn't enough," she said. "You have to decide to live." I dove into research, analysing financial records and medical timelines. Patterns emerged. Treatments worsening symptoms. Doctors vanishing. Then Anna burst in. "You've been made," she said. 2 men had come to her clinic with my photo, claiming to be relatives but acting like hunters. That night, a letter slipped under the door. "You were never meant to survive. Stop digging." Caleb showed me security footage of a figure leaving it. "They found the cabin," he said, "but not what we know." The journal's next entry gutted me. Dated after my 3rd birthday, it read, "Robert signed the paperwork. $30,000 deposited, more to follow." The doctor said risks were minimal, but I saw his eyes. I should have said no. "They sold me," I whispered to Caleb. "He found records linking our parents to Neurovance, a pharmaceutical company. Payments stopped when my symptoms became undeniable." "This is criminal," he said. Anna tracked down Dr. Rena Voss, a former Neurovance scientist. We met her at a state park, her nervous hands betraying fear. "Phase 3, she said, recognizing my tremors. "You were in the trial." She confirmed it. "A neurological treatment, promising in animals, disastrous in humans. 27 children, 24 with severe damage. You shouldn't have survived," she said, handing me a flash drive with trial data. A text interrupted us. Someone was asking for her. We parted, fear mounting. Caleb was arrested that night, false charges pinning him. His text directed me to a storage unit. Inside, I found his evidence: records, photos, and emancipation filing. With Anna's help, I filed an injunction to protect Caleb and demand a Neurovance inquiry. My mother's final journal entry chilled me. "If she finds this, run. They know she shouldn't have survived." I whispered to the shadows, "Let them come." 3 days later, I faced reporters at the courthouse. "My name is Leah Wells," I began, voice steady. "My parents abandoned me to die because of my illness caused by Neurovance's experiments." My story exploded online, #JusticeForLiar trending. Caleb was released, charges dropped. Dr. Voss agreed to testify, but her home burned, her credibility attacked. We went bigger, securing a live interview. Holding up the contract, I said, "They paid my parents $400,000 to experiment on me. Then, defying my body, I stood. This is what fighting back looks like." Neurovance collapsed, executives charged, a settlement fund established. My parents faced ruin. A year later, the sanctuary became the Wells Foundation, supporting survivors. A letter from my mother dying of cancer arrived. "You were always the strongest," she wrote. I felt no tears, only resolve. Caleb revealed he'd tracked our parents, catching them that night. "You were never a burden to me," he said. At a ceremony honoring the foundation I spoke, I was thrown out to die, but found my reason to live. Under a starlit sky, I stood, legs trembling but heart steady. "I'm home," I told Caleb. We were survivors, not just surviving, living.